And now for something completely different.
Hello, I'm RetroJules. World of Tanks is an excellent game. It gets very annoying, it gets very frustrating, and that is the sign of a good game getting under your skin. But because it's such a good game, sometimes you can play it just that little bit too much and have a session of falling out of love with the game. We all do it, and the best thing you can do is just leave it alone for a week or two, and suddenly you start missing it, you come back to it, and you love it all over again. But what do you do at that in-between stage? This is my British Mark III British Sherman, and well, do you know what? I was looking at this tank and I thought, if there's anything I could change about this tank, what would I change? Maybe I would swap the tracks for wheels. Maybe I'd change the chassis and put a windscreen on it and change the engine for an air-cooled version. Something that sounds very distinctive. And this is what I've got. This is my VW campervan Mark I with the split windscreen and very traditional distinctive air-cooled engine. And this is Crossout. It's a new game to the Xbox. It's been out on the PC for a year or so. I think PS4 have had it for a while, and now we get it. A free online multiplayer game, and very much like World of Tanks, you can play it for free, or you can fall in love with vehicles and buy packages and all the rest of it. And this game is a bit more subtle than World of Tanks. I can't actually work out yet how they're ever going to get any money from me. I'm sure there's a way they'll do it, but it's not like World of Tanks waving a big tank on the introduction screen and saying, look, you can have this, buy this. This game is much more subtle. So I thought I'd have a little dabble and show you what this game's about. I've only had it a couple of days and it took me a while, but I'm quietly enjoying it. It's a much lighter game. This game concentrates on building a vehicle. You can choose whether you're going to have a heavily armoured vehicle with a dirty great cannon, or a lighter vehicle that's more mobile with light machine guns that will do less damage, and you can see how this relates to World of Tanks already. And depending on the physics of the game, if you build this stupidly, i.e. I originally built this with a great big heavy cannon on the roof and it was top heavy and all it would do was roll over. So you build your vehicle, you can test drive it to see if the physics are going to work, and then you go out into battle and start earning bits and pieces and credits and stuff that will then progress you through the game. So it's a game of progression. So it's quite nice to go from World of Tanks, where it's heavily progressive, into this. The gameplay is much lighter. You've got a variety of tanks, you get all sorts of vehicles out there. I can't work out yet if there's any matchmaking. There's definitely spotting distances going on and assisted damage and various things like that. But there's no sniper mode, and that for me almost kills the game. There's a little bit of strategy. It's, you know, the games are only 3 minutes long, and a lot of you can't move your reticle, you can't zoom in, and the sort of strategy for me, really, generally, although I'm getting rammed to death here, is stay back and you can shoot into the distance and do damage, but you don't then see your enemy. And you can then put spikes on the front of the vehicle and ram them and do all sorts. I've already lost a front wheel, so steering is a bit of an issue, and gradually over a period of time bits and pieces fall off your vehicle. And the strategy in this can be that you can aim for wheels and take the wheels off first so the vehicle can't go anywhere, and then you take the guns out and then it can't shoot, and then you've just got a sitting slug and you just pelt away at it that can't defend itself. And that's it, really. And I played it a few times and thought, no, I'm not sure about this. And then I built my VW camper van and thought, I quite like this, actually. And then rolled out a few times. And rather than doing what these guys are doing and going in for that close combat and ramming everything and hoping you can shoot things, I stayed back on the map a little bit and tried to do a little bit of sniping. Now, the only trouble with that is you don't really get to see the vehicles like you do now. And when you're dead, you can flick between the other players and watch them play, just like World of Tanks. And I don't know if later on in this game, whether you're going to get weapons that you can snipe. And if there are, then you can zoom in, then this game could potentially be quite awesome. For me, it's just missing a sniping zoom function. That would make this game incredibly strategic, but also you could go and play like this and just go around bashing vehicles and do a lot of close combat, light tank style combats. So don't worry, I'm not going to stop World of Tanking, and I'm not going to do a series of cross-out videos. This is a one-off, something completely different, and yes, we lost, and even in a new game I can still be rubbish. And believe it or not, the gameplay I had before this, I actually didn't do too bad in it, and it was quite good for a voiceover, but it was super glitchy and virtually unwatchable. So I thought, well, I'll record another one. So I'm going to show you another map just so you can have another look at this. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything, and if you're in between games and you're getting a bit fed up with tanking and you want something that's got a little bit of progression, and actually I must admit something that's mildly addictive, then this might be for you. It's very similar in ways to World of Tanks. And yeah, see, that's where the physics of my vehicle don't work very well. I've got big wheels on the back, little wheels on the front. The big wheels at the back grip more, and the little wheels at the front don't steer so well. So there's an imbalance in the vehicle, and it's a bit of a bugger to manoeuvre. But this is kind of about as close as I like to get to the vehicles. And can you imagine if you were to aim in and start aiming at the wheels, popping the front wheels off, aiming for the gun turrets, and that could be quite amazing. But the maps are interesting, they're nicely rendered, it's very different, there's a variety of maps. You do get some AI, so anything with like a normal name on the teams is an AI vehicle. Because it's brand new, there isn't quite the player base yet, but I've never had to wait more than 6 or 7 seconds to go in a game. There's always a game there, and I've had a lot of games where there's no AIs at all. There's different styles of battle, there's missions you can do to collect goodies, and you can put a fuel drum on your vehicle, and then you collect fuel points. And there's a lot of menus in the garage which I do not understand, and a little bit like World of Tanks, I'm having to start watching tutorial YouTube videos to just work out how the game works, how you progress it, what you can do, what you can't do, and what you should do. And to me, that's instantly quite exciting, because it makes me think, that was World of Tanks, that was how I started. I started watching videos to see how the game would play. So if you haven't seen it, this is a new game that's completely free, and it might be just that little break in between the intense battles that is World of Tanks that you might need. In the meantime, keep safe, keep building, keep battling. Need a new outro really for this, because it's not a tank game, so kind of lost for words. But what I'm going to show you now is the trailer for it, which is quite nicely done.